Good morning, students. This is next topic, that is half life. This is also called half time. So here the definition is the time required for half of the initial concentration of the reactants is called half life. For example, let us assume the concentration of reactants before starting the reaction is 10. That means 10 moles per liter. It gradually decreases. Suppose at a particular time, suppose at 20 minutes time, that means after starting the after reaction starting 20 minutes, suppose for us, let us assume if its concentration becomes 5, that means 5 moles per liter, then that 20 minutes time is called half life of that reaction. For example, suppose initial concentration is 30 for one reaction. That means before starting the reaction, the concentration of reactant is 30. After 50 minutes time, suppose its concentration becomes 15, then this 30 minutes time is called half life of the reaction. So that is the meaning of the definition. So the time which is required for the half of the initial concentration of the reactants is called half life or half time. This is represented by T half or T 50%. That means time which is required to complete half of the percentage of the reactant. So we can represent it as T half or T 50%. Now we have to write the half-life expressions for zero order and first order reactions. So we know that already the zero order equation is K equal to R naught minus R by T, where R naught is initial concentration and R is final concentration, T is time and K is rate constant. If suppose T is equal to T half, that means after 50% of the reaction is completed, then automatically R becomes what? R naught by 2, because R is final concentration. So exactly half of the time, when the concentration is half in initial concentration, then R is equal to R naught by 2, then automatically T is what? T half. If you substitute these two values in this expression, then we get K equal to R naught minus R naught by 2 by T half. And finally we get this expression, that is T half equal to R naught by 2K. Overall R naught is what? A. T half equal to A by 2K. So this is the expression for half-life of zero order reaction. You have to remember these expressions. Next one, half-life for first order reaction. We take first order reaction, that is K equal to 2.303 by T log R naught by R. This is first order rate equation. Here suppose when final concentration is exactly equal to half of the initial concentration, when final concentration is exactly equal to half of the initial concentration, then time is equal to T half, just like here. If you substitute these values, we get one expression here. That expression is this one, T half equal to 0.693 by K. So this is what? Half-life of first order reaction. T half equal to A by 2K, that is half-life of zero order reaction. T half equal to 0.693 by K, that is half-life of first order reaction. Here one more equation is there, that is half-life of second order reaction. No need to remember this expression. For getting the statement only we are discussing this one. Here one statement is there, for that purpose only we are discussing about second order reaction. This is second order reaction. If T equal to half, automatically final concentration becomes half of the initial concentration. If you substitute these values, then we get finally this expression, that is what? T half equal to 1 by AK. In case of zero order reaction, T half equal to A by 2K. In case of first order reaction, T half equal to 0.693 by K. In case of second order reaction, we get one expression, that is what, 1 by ak. Here the point is, in case of zero order reaction, half-life is directly proportional to initial concentration. That means if initial concentration increases, half-life increases. That is the mean. In case of this is first order, this is second order. In case of second order reaction, half-life is inversely proportional to initial concentration. But in case of first order, here no term is there, like a term is not there. That means initial concentration is not mentioned in this expression. That means in this case half-life is independent on initial concentration. In this case half-life is directly proportional to initial concentration. In this case half-life is independent on initial concentration. In this case half-life is inversely proportional to initial concentrations. From all these points we have to say one point, that is of T of is proportional to a power n minus 1. That means where n is order of reaction, if n is equal to 0, then in denominator a power minus 1 is there, then it becomes a. It becomes a. That means in case of zero order reaction, half-life is directly proportional to initial concentration. If you put n is equal to 1, where n is order of reaction, then a power 0 nothing but 1. That means T of is directly proportional to that 1 means, that means T of is independent on initial concentration in case of first order reaction, because in this case we will not get any term regarding initial concentration if you put n is equal to 1. But if you put n is equal to 2, then T of is inversely proportional to a. So the expression here is T of is proportional to a power 1 minus n, or we can say that T of is proportional to 1 by a power n minus 1. You can say any expression here where n is what, order of reaction. If you put 0 n instead of n, then T of is directly proportional to a. If you put 1, then T of is independent on initial concentration. So that is the meaning of this expression. Next, here some points are there regarding zero order, first order, second order. This is the rate expression for zero order. We know that already, r equal to k into r power 0, because here r is 0. Here first order is r equal to k into r power 1. Here second order r equal to k into r square. In this case rate constant value, we know that k equal to r naught by r naught minus r by t. This is the rate constant expression for zero order reaction. This is rate constant expression for first order. No need to remember about this one. Next, this is half-life for first order. Just now we discussed about this one. This is half-life for first order. This is half-life for zero order. This is half-life for second order. Here units we know already, by using mole power 1 minus n and a liter power n minus 1 seconds. From that expression we can derive the units of zero, first and second order equations. So this is about rate equations and rate constants and half-life units of zero, first and second order equations. Next, some problems are there regarding this one. Before that, some relations are there. We have to discuss those relations. Those are very, very important relations. These are, see, for first order reaction, these are very, very important points, especially in competitive level. So here the point is T 50%, that means T half-life, that means time required to complete 50% of the reaction, is to T 75, that means time required to complete 75% of the reaction is to time required to complete 87.5% reaction is to time required to complete 93.75% reaction is equal to 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 4. You have to remember these relations. Here also time required to complete 90% is to time required to complete 99%, time required to complete 99.99. For this the relation is 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 4. Here here the relation is time required to complete 50% is to time required to complete 90% equal to 3 is to 10. Here time required to complete 50% is to time required to complete 25% is equal to 2.4, not 2 is to 4, 2.4 is to 1. Here time required to complete 50% is to time required to complete 30% equal to 3 is to 1. So these are all the relations regarding first order, not zero and second order. Mostly we usually face problems from first order in competitive level. but in CBSE level we will face problems from first order as well as in zero order. So all these relations regarding competitive level, better to remember all these relations. Here I will show one proof. That means I will show how time required for 50% of the reaction is to 75% of the reaction is equal to 1:2. I will show the proof for these two, because everything proof is there, but here we cannot calculate, we cannot show the proof for all the things. I will show one proof regarding this one. That means time required for 50% reaction is to time required for 75% is equal to 1:2. I will show. Now take first order reaction, that is K equal to 2.303 by T log A by A minus X. I told you already, better to remember this expression every time, where A is initial concentration, A minus X is final concentration. Now I take time required to complete 75% reaction, that means T 75% is equal to, then in such cases we have to assume that initial concentration is 100, then 100 minus 75, that means time required to complete 75%. We have to write like that, 100 minus 75, then 100 minus 75 becomes 25, then if this value becomes 4, we know that log 4 value how much, log 4 we can write it as 2 log 2, log 2 value we know that already 0.3010, so 2.30 into 0.3010 value how much, 0.693, this is 0.693. If you calculate this value we will get this value. From this we can write K equal to 2 into, because this value and this value equal to how much, 0.693 by T 75%. So this expression, so from this we can say that T 75, if it goes to this side, then T 75% equal to 2 into 0.693 by K. For first order reaction, T half life is equal to how much, 0.693 by K. That means in this place we can substitute the value of T half. That means time required to complete 75% reaction is equal to 2 into time required to complete 50%, nothing but T half. Suppose if this T75 comes this side, then you get T50 by T75% equal to 1 by 2. So T50% is to T75% is equal to 1:2. So this is the proof. So this is the proof for this one. Like that we can show the, we can express everything. We can show the time required for 87.5 react to T93.75% completion of reaction is equal to 3:4. We can show everything, but it takes time. No need to do like all these things. You just remember these expressions for competitive level. Next, some more problems are there regarding half-life. Those are very important. They are, a first order reaction has a rate constant, that means K is given for first order reaction. How long will 5 grams of this reactant take to reduce 3 grams? That means 5 grams of reactant, when it comes to 3 grams of the reactant, then how much time is needed? That means we have to calculate time for this problem. So a given reaction is first order reaction, K is given. Here if 5 grams is initial concentration, here 3 grams is final concentration. That means initial concentration and final concentration both are given, and K is also given. We have to find what, just T. That means if you get the idea of a first order rate equation, we will get it very easily. K equal to 2.303 by T log A by A minus X, where A is initial concentration nothing but 5, and here A minus X nothing but final concentration nothing but 3. If you substitute this value, then you get a value. So before going to solve this one, you just remember these values, because generally we use the problems, we face the problems in these values by, so better to remember these values. Log 2 value 0.3010, log 3 0.4771, log 4 0.6020, log 5 0.6991. Nearly we can write it instead of this one 0.7. So we usually face these values in the problem, so better to remember these values. I told you already these values in class 11 chemistry chemical equilibrium chapter. Next, one more problem is given, that is time required to decompose SO2Cl to half of its initial amount is 60 minutes. That means half life is given, that means T half is given for first order reaction. If here it says if the decomposition is first order reaction, calculate rate constant. That means T half is given, we have to find K. We know that for first order reaction K equal to 0.693 by T half, that's all. If you substitute that value, then you get a answer. Then one more problem is there, that is a first order reaction is found to have a rate constant. That means K is given for first order reaction. We have to find what? Half life. That means T of, we have to find T of, just like this one. If you get the idea of first order half life of first order reaction, then we can solve the problem. Next, one more model is there, that is show that, this is important problem, show that in a first order reaction, time required for completion of 99.9% is 10 times of half life of first order of the reaction. That means we have to show time required for 99.9% completion of first order reaction is equal to 10 times of half life. That means we have to show T 99.9% is equal to 10 T of. We have to show this expression by using first order equation. First we take first order equation. Then first we take time required to complete 99.99%. That means 100. In such case we have to assume like this: 100 by 100 minus 99.9. Then here in denominator 0.1 comes. Then in numerator this value become log 1000. Log 1000 nothing but log 10 cube. That means 3 log 10. Then we get one expression, that is K equal to one expression is there. Let us assume that expression is 1. We know K equal to what? 0.693 by T of. This is the half life expression for first order. Here K, this is K value, this is also K value. Both are rate constant for first order reaction. So from 1 and 2 we can write this equal to this one. We have written like this. Then finally we get one expression, that is what? T of equal to 0.1 into T 99.9%. After calculation we get this expression. From this we can say that T 99.9%, if 0.1 comes this side, then it becomes 10. That means T 99.9% equal to 10 T of. So that is the way to calculate the problems. Next, one more problem is given in this one, that is the initial concentration of N2O5 in the following first order reaction is. This is the first order in this one. Initial concentration. This is concentration is given. Initial concentration. The concentration of N2O5 after 16 minutes. That means after 16 minutes the concentration is also given. Calculate rate constant. That means this is first order reaction. Initial concentration is given, time is given, and final concentration is also given. If you substitute the values, all the values, then we get direct value, that is K value. Next one, pseudo unimolecular reaction. This is very important for 1 mark question. Pseudo unimolecular, simply a reaction in which order is 1 and molecularity is 2. I repeat once again, in that reaction order equal to 1, order should be 1 and molecularity should be 2, then that reaction is called pseudo unimolecular reaction. The reaction in which order is 1 and molecularity is 2 is called pseudo unimolecular reaction. For this example is this one. So in this case reactants are two reactant molecules are there. In this case we take more amount of H2O. If concentration of reactant is more, then order with respect to that substance is 0. So that we can consider the order with respect to this substance. That is why this is first order. But while in case of molecularity, the number of molecules participated in a elementary step. This is elementary step. That means single step or slow step. So in this, how many molecules are participated? 2 molecules. One ester molecule, one water. So that this is bimolecular. Nothing but molecularity is 2. So this is the example for pseudo unimolecular reaction. Next one. Now effect of temperature. This is also one of the factor which influence rate of reaction. Yes, there is a few points are there regarding this one. That is, as temperature increases, the rate of reaction also increases. That means if temperature increases, then reaction is easily converted into products. Automatically rate of reaction also increases. Here one important point is that this is important. For every 10 degrees rise in temperature, then rate constant of reaction increases by 2 times. Then that is called temperature coefficient. As temperature increases, rate of reaction also increases. Here the point is specific point. For every 10 degrees rise in temperature, rate constant of, that means K value increases by 2 times. That is called temperature coefficient. That is represented by Kt plus 10 by Kt. That means for every 10 degrees rise in temperature, rate constant is increased by 2 times. This is represented by like this. So this is about effect of temperature. And last factor is there, that is effect of catalyst. We know that when catalyst is added, rate of reaction is also increases. Now we will show how rate of reaction increases when catalyst is added. That is, before that we have to know one point, that is activation energy. We know in every reaction, reactants are converted into products. This is the graph, this is y-axis, this is x-axis. I take here energy. This is some 2-3 points are important points here. See, before starting the reaction, we have only reactants. After completing the reaction, we have only products. Here the one more point is that, that is, before starting the reaction, reactants have some energy, but that energy is not enough for the reactants to convert into products. I repeat once again that before starting the reaction, reactants have some energy, but that energy is not enough for reactants to convert into products. That means reactants need some energy. That means it needs extra energy for conversion into products. Here that extra energy is called activation energy. This is important point. Activation energy means the extra energy is required by the reactants to convert into products is called activation energy. I repeat once again, the extra energy is required for the reactants to convert into products is called activation energy. So when we see in the graph, see from here to here, this is energy of reactants. That means normal energy of reactants, but that energy is not enough. It requires some energy. So this is what activation energy. That means for understanding purpose we are telling like this. That means reactants need some energy for to convert into products. Here this is activation energy. When reactants are converted into products, that is forward reaction. When products are converted into reaction, that is backward reaction. I repeat once again, when reactants are converted into products, that is forward reaction. When products are converted into reactants, that is backward reaction. This is what activation energy. So this is what EAF, nothing but activation energy of forward reaction. This is what activation energy of backward reaction. Here, in case of exothermic reactions, that means in that reaction energy is released. We know that already. So here the point is, in case of exothermic reactions, energy of reactants is more than energy of products. We know that. In case of exothermic reactions, energy of reactants is more than energy of products. Exothermic reactions. So when we draw, in graph, if you see this one, from here to here, energy of reactants. From here to here, this is the energy of products. If you see this one, suppose if you see this one, here energy of reactants from here to here, here energy of products from here to here. So this energy is more because we have to calculate energy from here to here. Here. We have to calculate energy from here to here. That means energy, in this case, energy of reactants is more than energy of products. So this represents what? Exothermic reaction. When reactions are converted into products, this is called forward reaction. So that this is activation energy of forward reaction. When products are converted into reaction, this is called backward reaction. So this is called activation energy of backward reaction. The difference between energy of reactants and energy of products, nothing but this is the difference, is called delta H. In case of exothermic reactions, we know that delta H value is negative. Here one important point is there, that is what? In case of exothermic reactions, energy of backward reaction is more than activation energy of backward reaction is more than activation energy of forward reaction. That is the important point. If you understand this graph, then we get idea Why we should draw the graph like this? This is exothermic reaction. In case of exothermic reaction, energy of reactants is more than energy of products. Automatically activation energy of forward reaction is less compared to activation energy of backward reaction, because this is activation energy, so this is very less compared to this one. But in case of endothermic reaction, energy of reactants is less than energy of products. This is energy of reactants, this is energy of products, so that this is less energy compared to here. Automatically activation energy of forward reaction is more than activation energy of backward reaction in case of endothermic reaction, so that EAF is greater than EAB. We know that delta H value in this case is how much? Positive. So this is about activation energy. In case of what about the effect of catalyst? A catalyst increases the rate of reaction by changing the path where the activation energy is less. For example, if you see the graph, you can get the idea. See, suppose if catalyst is not there, if reactants are converted into products, it needs some energy. That energy is called what? Activation energy. So this is activation energy. If catalyst is not there, if catalyst is added, we know that rate of reaction increases. Why? When catalyst is added, then activation energy decreases. That means the reaction go into further path. In that path, actually activation energy is less. That means if height is less, automatically, that means if height is less means if activation energy is less, automatically reactants are easily converted into products. So when catalyst is added to the reaction, then reaction proceeds into further process. In that process, activation energy is less, automatically rate of reaction is more. So this is so here one more point is there, that is when catalyst increases the rate of reaction, but it does not change the values of delta G and delta H. That means catalyst does not depend on delta G and delta H values. So this is all about chemical kinetics chapter. So from this chapter we mostly face numericals regarding first order, zero order and rate of reactions. Thank you.